Hi everyone, I'm just going to give you a quick tutorial on how to create a Hapara workspace. It was a really great tech tool that I was introduced to in the last couple of years and really enjoyed using for my grade 4 extended group this year. If you haven't used Hapara or have been a little bit intimidated or timid with starting to use it, don't be. It is a wonderful and easy tool to use, and once you get the hang of it, it will become a fantastic resource for you to use in your classroom. If you don't know how to get onto Hapara, usually you should have luck through your staff portal, and then there will be an icon that you can click on. Once you click on it, it will take you to your interface and show all the classes that you have available to create workspaces for, and that will be all the classes, all your classrooms. Now, if you're unsure how to create a workspace, you will just go onto the top toolbar here and go to Workspace. Once you have gone to Workspace, at the right-hand side, you can click the New Workspace button, and it will take you to your home page. So where you can give your workspace a title. For the purposes of this tutorial, I will just give you the title of tutorial, and then you can click which class you want to push this out to. So I'm just going to push out to one of my classes. We can delete it later. And then you can create a description. So tutorial for Hapara workspace. So that when somebody goes onto the workspace, a student or another educator, they can see what it's going to be all about. Then you can click create, and it will take you to your page. So this is what the students will see or what other educators will see, because it's a great tool to use to push out professional development as well as lessons or units. And I used this to push out units in particular this year that follow the launch cycle, which was using design thinking. And I found it a really great tool to do that for. So as you can see on the right-hand side will be your description, your groups, which is your classroom. You can also go in into edit students and groups and create small groups within your class if you would like to. Now, I found it really difficult to manage with the small groups and prefer to just push out to my whole classroom, but you can do what you wish. And then here is any of the teachers that could have access to this workspace. So from there you can see that there are goals, resources, evidence, and rubrics. Now these are just the headings that come with the workspace, but you can change them if you would like. So if you're wanting to edit any of these headings or subtopics, you can go to the three little dots here on the right side and click it, and you can go to edit workspace. And from here is where you're able to edit your description, your groups, as well as your headings. So I like to leave these headings the way they are, change them between French and English if need be, depending on your group, but I feel like it really creates a clear outline of what you're wanting to do. So here would be any of your learning goals or learning outcomes that you want for your students, or what the goals are for your workspace. So to do so, you create cards underneath the headings and underneath each section that pertain to them. So to create a card, you just click on the addition button and you can title your card. So for this, you see goals for learning, and the description would be tutorial on how to use Hapara workspace. And then if there are any media or links or websites or rubrics that you would like to add, you can drag the media in through the upload button. So this one would be to upload anything from your computer. You can select a file or drag a file in, which is awesome. Here would be to attach or upload a Google Doc or a Google file, which makes it really easy because all this stuff is on the Google interface, so easy access, as well as hyperlinks, so links in for you to videos or to websites, or you can even create a new document through the workspace. And then once you're done, you click add. The great thing is you can also make this more visually appealing, because once you add all of your subtopics in the bottom, it kind of could look a little bit bland, or you can start color coding. So you can color the cards to any of the anything you want, so that when, even for the students looking at them, they know that all their goals will be in purple, all their resources could be in yellow or green. And then for the evidence of learning and rubrics, this is where you would put in the work that needs to get done for the students. So anything that they would need to complete or add to, whether that be a PowerPoint or like it says here, a link to a quiz or Google Forms. And then for rubrics is to show how the students are going to be assessed. So you can add your rubrics in and create rubrics within that. It's a great tool to co-construct with the students. And even for the resources, you can add links and YouTube videos for all the documents that the students will need to have access to. So once you have added all that you need, you will click publish. And this means that all your students or anybody you've had, so your class, as well as your teachers that are included in this, have access to it and the teachers will be able to edit and the students will be able to learn from it. So I'm going to quickly go back and show you a workspace that I've completed. And this was an inquiry unit that I did with my students for social studies, just so you get a better idea of what it looks like when it's done and how it can be navigated. So as you can see, the status is published, which means I've already created it and all the students in my class can see it. So it will show you on the bottom here how many students have access and how many groups you've created. So I've created one group, which is my whole class. If you create smaller groups, it will show you that you've created those groups within that class. So you just click on it and it will open up, and this is my completed workspace. So as you can see here, I have set up all my goals, which I've taken right out of the curriculum. So the curriculum overall expectations for social studies grade 4. And then my resources and anything that the students will need to reference, I kept in this bright or burnt orange, so that anytime the students knew that these were documents they weren't necessarily needing to complete, but were needing to reference for their learning. So here I added in the link for word reference because it's French instruction. I want the kids to have a good development of vocabulary, as well as I added in a PowerPoint presentation that you can see here. You can click on it and it will open up and they can go reference the vocabulary throughout this unit. Then I added in all the links and all the videos that they would need to accompany their learning. And most of it was in French, some of it was in English, because I wanted them to really get a good idea of the vocabulary. Even if they weren't always understanding, they can use the videos for visual. Then for my evidence is what the students were working on. So here for anything in the mustard or in the green, the kids were needing to do the work. So for here, I created a KWL chart through a Google Doc, and the kids were able to open it up, just click on it, and have access to it. So they were able to ask lots of questions. So what they wanted to know, what they did know, what they wondered, and what they learned. And then they can go back to the workspace and click on any of the links that they needed to see. Then from there were my rubrics. So I kept it pretty simple. So the students worked through a work package. So I just made it clear to them that that is what will be assessed in terms of reading comprehension. And then their final project, I added the rubric because they were going to create a diorama of an ancient civilization. So out of the civilizations that we studied, I picked one and we decided as a class that that is what they wanted to do. I created a rubric based on my expectations of what should be included in this diorama, and then from there the students were able to work through this workspace. So this was my first workspace that I did, so I kept it pretty simple. I didn't want to add too much or too little, mainly because I did not want to overwhelm the students at first or overwhelm myself with trying to add too much. Now, the great thing about Workspace is you can edit it all the time. So if you go into the More Actions button, like I showed you before, you can continuously edit the workspace and add or take away cards as needed. So if I felt that throughout this unit, halfway through, I was like, oh, I could have really added something else, I could go right in and add it and then have time to show the students what I did, or they could even go through it after I said, okay, the workspace has been updated. You can see what changes you need to make, and vice versa. So overall, I think Hapara is a really great tool to use. I really enjoyed using it. My students really enjoyed using it, and I will definitely be using it more next year.